wasn't really like that nervous about it until the day came, and everybody would start like the day before, like everybody was like asking me questions at school, like how close are you going to get it today? Like that really made me like think, oh, I need to get this now. But once the game started, you know, I can't force up shots. So, I mean, just tried to make myself not force up the shots, you know, let it come to me. And I just wasn't able to get it that game, which was fine. We won.
He had set a goal for himself that he wanted to score 1,000 his freshman year. And so he knew if they won that he probably could have gone on to the district championship and the regional, that probably would have happened. He was very nervous going into the first game of the season. You know, it took him a while to get going, that Anderson County game. He put a lot of pressure on himself that ball game until he got into the flow of the game.
I was keeping track in my head of how many points I needed, which probably is not a good thing, but I only needed 6. And those 2 free throws at the beginning of the game helped me out a lot. They had just hit a 3, you know, I mean, dribbling down the court. I saw Drew, he was standing there. He was like looking at me like he knew it was about to happen. I feel like everyone on the team knew I was going to shoot it, you know. So I came off a screen, the guy went under it, and I just shot it, and it felt good. It went in. I was expecting them to stop the game, but as soon as I hit it, but you know, that didn't happen, so I did get back on defense.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to announce that with his last basket, sophomore Henry County player Fran Nolin just eclipsed the 1,000 point mark as a sophomore. Congratulations, Fran.
There was a lot of signs there, like people holding up signs. I guess I didn't see them like when they walked in, but you know, it's always cool to get recognized for accomplishment. You know, there's signs everywhere. I mean, people everywhere. Like friends that usually don't come to games were there to watch me achieve that. So
I know Baylor off the court, and really good friends. I was proud of him. It's a really big accomplishment, getting 1,000 points as a sophomore. You know, not even very many people do that in their whole high school career. So, yeah, he still has 2 years left, and just being on the court with him when he did that, it was really good to watch.
On December 5th, the Kentucky Country Day score is 1,000 career point.
I mean, 1,000 points is a really big milestone. Being just a sophomore, you know, it's kind of crazy to look at that. That doesn't happen a lot. So being a part of that, being his teammate, and you know, being close to him is a big thing. You know, being able to know that I'm part of that is, you know, something I take pride in too. Even though it says Baylor Nolin 1,000 points, you know, our whole team was a part of that.
There was probably a 10 or 12 year span that didn't touch a ball. I just dropped it and moved on. Now I'm back coaching on the same court that I played on.
Love what you do. Love each other. Chase our standard with the most passion you've ever chased in your life. Don't do that.
With Baylor, it starts a long time ago with him. he's a sports junkie. You know, he was blessed with the opportunities to have his parents that instilled good work ethic and competitive spirit in him, and he had them to teach him basics of the game early.
You're bringing the ball right back in the trash, I guarantee you there's another defender here. But if you grip in your left hand, see when you swing it back like this, somebody else is going to take it.
His first toy he had was a baseball, and Christmas, birthdays, everybody, what can you get Baylor? He was not interested in anything but balls. Baseball and basketball, those were the only thing he wanted. He went through a stage where he would want some trains, but I mean, I have videos that him won with the little Fisher-Price basketball goals, you know, just shooting. That's all he's ever really wanted to do is baseball and basketball.
I was really young. I just if there was a ball, just pick it up and just start bouncing. My family's all my family members, they played basketball. So going to their games, watching them play, my mom taking me outside with a little hoop, with a little ball, it's been put in my mind ever since I was 2 years old, probably.
Now we go to the studio for the halftime report. Let's go and give them the hands now.
Thanks for keeping it a Big Ten to start the Mazda halftime report.
When I was younger, it was every day I wanted to do something that included a ball. You know, that was just shooting or even throwing the ball. But yeah, I've just always loved to play ball, you know. Always come natural to me, you know, shooting. I've had to develop some other things along the way, but shooting was the main one that came to me first, and then, you know, just getting better as every year goes on. So it was in preschool because I remember playing in the YMCA. My mom was my coach, and I remember they had the 6 foot rims, and I shot one from 3, and everybody was like, "No, don't shoot it," and then I banked it in, and then everybody was really surprised, but I wasn't surprised. I knew that's why I shot it, but.
My grandfather, my mother's father, played for the University of Kentucky, and so we've had, they would always go to the games, and occasionally we would get to go to the UK games with them. So it's always just been something in our family that we've done together.
As far as a player, I started in Carroll County and started in middle school all the way through. Started varsity as a sophomore, junior, and senior at Carroll County. Played in this gym many times as a visitor, not as a coach or a homebody. I was primarily a point guard when I played, but the offensive sets that my coaches in high school used, I had a lot of freedom. I shot 86% from the free throw line, which at that point in time, every time you got fouled, you got to shoot. So that would help. But I've had a couple of old tapes where I could actually, if the three-point line was there, I was behind the three-point line. But primarily, I was quick and I could penetrate. But any place on the floor, a lot of people say you never had a shot you didn't like, and that's a lot of truth to that.
Hearing stories about him at Carroll County and how he broke records at Carroll County, you know, it just pushed me to he always talks about it. I don't know if it's him trying to be oh, you need to do this to one up me, or I don't know what it is, but it definitely works because I definitely want to one up him. So
a goal was to play college basketball, and I had opportunities and things didn't work the way they wanted to, but yeah, I've always had a passion for the game. I've been around it back from when I was a little bitty scrapper. My grandparents put a rim up on one of the doors off the bedroom, and we had so it's always been back in the back of my mind to where I played ball and liked it. I came back here in '74 and as an assistant football and basketball coach. And after 6 years here, from '74 till 80 about, I was an assistant coach for 1 year, or for 3 years, and the head coach for 3 years. And after that stint, then I changed jobs, got my master's degree and became a guidance counselor. Went back to Carroll and actually coached with Bobby Simpson there for over 15 years. And then when he retired and I retired, I came back here. And I've gone through, since I've been here the second time, I've gone through 5 head coaches. And actually this year will be my, as a Henry County, on a Henry County staff, will be my 29th year, I think. So that kind of sums it up, I guess. And I've been anywhere in this capacity here the second time, primarily a JV coach. And I had a title a couple of times as associate head coach. I mean, it was just a matter of a different head coaches and different responsibilities. But that's kind of in a nutshell how it all started. My father-in-law played for Rupp, so basketball had been in my father-in-law and that side of the family, and then it just snowballed, and they didn't want to be cheerleaders. I'm not knocking cheerleaders, but they didn't have any desire. They wanted to play, so yeah, they pushed themselves.
When I first started, there was no little girl leagues. The only thing you could do was cheer. But my sister is older than me and played when she started playing middle school. I was around 5 years old, so we started going to her games. I would be the manager and would help with the water and all of those things for her games. So I really got interested, and it wasn't until I was in 5th grade did I get to start playing on a basketball team.
They were totally 2 different type players. Fran was, she was more of an inside player. She's kind of like Baylor. I mean, if you want to try to guard her inside, it's going to be tough, and if you put somebody on the outside, she can shoot. Lisa was more of a finesse player.
She was more of the point guard, I was more of the shooting guard, but my goals were definitely to surpass my sister. You know, she had 9 3-pointers in one game, and I was adamant that I was going to do that, and I would get to 8. I even begged Coach Gilly one year to put me back in because I was right at 8, and he didn't want to, and he finally did. But no, it was definitely that competitive. She motivated me to strive into that.
I think that was a positive feature, that they pushed each other. It was funny that, you know, this past regional, when Fran was inducted into the 8th Region Hall of Fame, Hampton, that's the youngest one, said, "Mommy, I thought Aunt Lisa was better than you." And so they've always been competitive in nature, but yet each other's biggest supporters. So yeah, it was all good.
Was kind of in a strange situation. After my 7th grade year, the girls' basketball numbers were kind of down. So me and 2 other 7th graders got to move up. So we started playing then. And then my 8th grade year, we just played high school basketball. So I started a lot earlier. There was a lot of responsibilities for the younger girls because we didn't have many old ones. We had always played together, and we played really well. At times I would have to go inside because I was taller, but I also, I was definitely probably just the shooter. I was not the point guard. I was a pretty good shooter. Coach Gilly used to tease me that if I could get driving down better, I'd be good, much better. But yes, I liked to shoot, but I also enjoyed defense. So I led the team in steals a couple of years because if you didn't have the ball, you couldn't score. Between my junior and senior year in high school, I got mono. I was very sick, lost a lot of weight. Then when we were lifting weights, I had some weights fall on my legs. I got stress fractures in both of my shins, so I was out for a while. Didn't play all of December. I got back in after Christmas, and in January in the Class A tournament, I tore my ACL. And my doctor, Dr. Ellis, told me if I could get fitted for a brace, I could play through the pain, but I would need to have surgery. So I played senior night for a little bit, and then I played in the district and regional tournament. And I got hurt in the regional tournament and had to have surgery the next day.
You know, she talks about how she was really close to 2,000 points and that was taken away from her because she was injured. So it's something I want to do personally. So, I mean, so she can like kind of live it out in a second life.
Heavily by Middle Tennessee and Miami of Ohio, younger. And then actually once I got hurt, Middle Tennessee told me they didn't need a shooting guard anymore. They needed someone bigger. They needed a center. So I kind of was just like, okay, it's not meant for me to play college basketball. I got hurt. I didn't do the recovery like I should have, the therapy. And then I went to EKU, and when I got to EKU, they had seen me a couple times. They called Coach Gilly, asked me how my rehab was going. So I did play at EKU for a year and a half. And some days, after a year and a half, I decided that it was more of a job. It's a special person to play college sports, and it was a job. We were practicing 2 or 3 times a day, and I never felt like, because I didn't do the rehab right at the beginning, I never felt comfortable with how I was performing after that. I wanted my parents to tell me what to do, and they were like, we're not going to tell you to quit or to stay because we don't want you bringing this back on us. But it was very difficult because I did love it. At the same time, it was causing me lots of frustration because I just wasn't playing how I knew I could, and it was bothering me. And you know, I look back at it now and I'm thinking, if I did this, stuck with it, what I would have been able to do, but what I got to do because of it. We did win the Ohio Valley Conference while I was there, so I do have a conference championship ring. So I got to experience a lot and see things, and so I feel like I had a really good balance.
You know, I always sit in a stool. During the games, I have a stool next to the chair. Well, ever since he was knee-high, he would sit in that stool next to us. So that's been really special. And Hampton's the same way. Hampton, he's always behind the bench. It's been a little bit different with him. But yeah, it's pretty special. And that's the thing, you know, you're going to finish with Baylor, or you're going to stick around till Hampton graduates. And I said, if I stick around till Hampton graduates, I'm only almost 80 years old. I don't know that I can handle it. But yeah, it's special. It's good.
He was a gym rat as a kid, and was always around with Rick at games and practices and all those sorts of things.
You know, that kid grew up in that gym. You know, he was shooting threes on the gun with our team. You know, the shooting machine with our team for, you know, probably 8 years before he ever got to suit up.
When I was in elementary school, I would come down here. I'd ride the bus here. My mom worked here, and I'd always come down to practices and watch practice, and like the guys on the team, I'd sit on the bench with them and during the games, and then the guys on the team would like take me in. I mean, I went to prom with them one time, and it was pretty cool. And I have a basketball at home of a whole team signing a basketball and give it to me when I was in like the 3rd grade. So I mean, growing up and watching them get to play in front of the big crowds and do the big things, you know, couldn't really wait for it to be my turn, but it's my turn now, so.
I think that it was hard. It was something that we worried about. It was something that Dad worried about when Baylor moved up. It was like, do you want Granddad to coach? Or do you want Granddad to be Granddad? And he was like, I want Granddad to coach. It's what you've always done. Like, Baylor has grown up in the gym. I mean, Dad started here with Jamie Roberts, and then has moved all through the coaches, and all of them have accepted Baylor on the sidelines with them. So he's grown up there. So I think for him to not have his grandfather there would be weird to him. And I definitely think that they are definitely take on the role of player coach in the setting, because the way they interact, by me keeping the book this year, I can see it. The way they interact is not how they interact outside of basketball.
He doesn't act like he listens, because I think he doesn't want to be in a position to where things that he's getting favorable treatment because of the situation. And I said, Fran, she said, Dad, don't worry about it. He is definitely listening to you. But for it to come out, yeah. And sometimes there's situations in over the last couple of years that I've had, like Jalen or whatever. Tell Baylor this, and so they do, but he does respond. We talk. We're pretty open talking sometimes after games. But it's good. But in here, I don't think he wants to feel like he's getting any type of special treatment.
I remember I was sitting on like the end of the bench, kind of thinking that there's no way I'd get in, but I was just happy to be there. And then we got up by a lot. Student section started chanting, "We want Baylor," and I was like getting nervous. I'd like turned white, and I remember he walked down there and they're like, 2 minutes, you're going in. And I was like, okay. And so I got ready to go in. 2 minutes came, I went in there.
Ulrey for three, no good. Franklin shot is up and in. Henry County student section is happening. Looks like they're going to be subbing in. He's not on the roster. Number 24.
Maybe a middle schooler getting his varsity shot here.
Yeah, and neither of these players are actually on this roster, but seem to be crowd favorites. Henry County was chanting for them to put him in, and cheered whenever he stood up from the bench. So
I was the point guard with this group that was in, so I was dribbling the ball up the floor. I kind of knew I was already going to shoot it in my head, because I knew everybody wanted me to shoot it. And I just shot it, and I made it, and it was like the greatest feeling ever. Everybody was going insane. They started chanting, "He's a 7th grader." It was pretty awesome.
And Derek and I both said we knew when he got it that it was going to the three-point line and going up. And sure enough, right in front of us, he got the ball, he didn't hesitate, hit a 3 in the district tournament. But what was gratifying about that was the very next trip, he had the same situation, the same position, same opportunity. Instead of shooting, he hit Brody Cross for a layup, and he got an assist. And to me, watching that, it was like, okay, we're going to be okay.
The 8th grade year was more of a gradual built going into the playing time. And I think after he had the really good game on a Christmas tournament, his 8th grade year, he got to start the next game, and he saw that his teammates believed in him and all of that. You could see a big difference after that.
As an 8th grader, he started a game in the Montgomery County Invitational Tournament during Christmas and played really well. And Derek pulled him in and said, from this point on, you're going to start.
I didn't think it would come as soon as it did, but definitely I knew that it was going to happen eventually. But I mean, 8th grade year, at the beginning I didn't really play a lot. It came like mid-season, we were struggling. We had won like 2 games. And like they threw me out there, I did pretty good. I mean, I was hitting shots and helping the team.
Being an 8th grader, he was not as physical, so he relied a whole lot on his three-point shooting, which he does pretty well at.
The competitiveness that Brian and I had, a lot of times I feel like if there was a year that we were hard on him, it probably was his 8th grade year, because I think we were expecting him to be able to get in there and rebound and to be more aggressive on offense. I felt like he did a lot of standing around at the three-point line. But then you look back at his 8th grade pictures, bless his heart, he wasn't strong enough. Like, you know, he that was very challenging for him physically to be able to, take it in there to the seniors and be as physical as he is now.
Everybody relying on me was kind of nerve-wracking because I was just an 8th grader, and that team had a bunch of seniors too. So like them looking at me as like the guy to go to, and when I'm 5 years younger than they are, is going against guys that are bigger and stronger and way faster than me, it was pretty tough.
And just to see that he could compete as an 8th grader, but yet I think he was also a little disappointed. But that year was rough for him, but I think a lot of it was his strength. There was lots of frustration because he felt like, and I don't believe for any minute that Derek put that pressure on him, nor did we, but he had a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He felt like he still needed to be the leading scorer and all of that as an 8th grader. So that was definitely a rough year. We had to have there was lots of tears at home that no one probably knew about, lots of pep talks and, you're doing fine. He also was growing. We had lots of issues with his knees hurting him all the time. And, so he was tough with that and tougher than I give him credit for. I'm kind of hard on him when he gets hurt, but.
My knees were really bad that year, and it just like I would play a game and then go home and barely be able to walk. So that was definitely tough, but putting a lot of pressure on me as an 8th grader was like, it wasn't that bad, but like as the season went on and we got closer and closer to the postseason and we were starting to play more of our district opponents and bigger crowds, and like that's a lot of pressure to put on an 8th grader. So I accepted it, I just did what I could do, and I feel like I did a pretty good job.
He didn't want to seem like he was dominating. He said, I want to make everybody in the game, but when it comes down to it, that he had to have a shot, then he'd get the shot.
Won 3 games all year, and going into the postseason, it's always 0-0. So we felt like we had a really good shot at that, and we came up just short. I mean, we were right there. It was very devastating. And those seniors had taken me under their wing. It was really hard to watch them go. They were really accepting of me and nice to me, and they treated me like a family member almost. So watching them go was probably the hardest thing I experienced. And now, as you look back on that picture, it's, I've grown a lot as a person and grown a lot as a player. So I think that's a pretty cool picture to look back on.
It was kind of frustrating, but I definitely think that his teammates have always supported him, even though he was the younger player, They always were very, very supportive, always encouraged him. They would always give him the ball, like they accepted him. They didn't give him a hard time for being an 8th grader, for being the youngest one. And I think that that helped him too, towards the end of the year, especially his 8th grade year.
Coming in from 8th grade, you don't realize how big of a difference it is from 8th grade to difference in 8th graders and seniors and juniors. It's much more mature, and it's just you can't really compete with them at a certain point. I feel like everyone in the team grew, not just me. We had more experience, a lot of stronger, quicker, faster people. Court, he was always the first person to come up to me and say good job, or keep your head up, or as a freshman, a lot of the older guys that we played against would try to get in my head, and he would always be the first one there to back me up and make sure that they didn't get in my head and that they would stop. But it's really special. I love Blake.
He always wanted to play with Blake. And the first year that they did the Little Henry County League, him and Blake got put on different teams. So he did not like that. They had to play against each other. He definitely enjoyed the time with Blake. He was afraid that Blake wasn't going to get to play. Blake's always had, the injuries. So he was very thankful that he got to finish and play with that. And that's, even as a 7th grade year, there were some opportunities. They got to sit together, during the varsity games and stuff. So that was definitely a special experience. If he doesn't make it to college as a college athlete, he definitely will be a coach. The things he sees, his knowledge for the game is, I think, what sets him, kind of above some of the others right now.
He brings a lot to the table, obviously, as a really good shooter. He passes the ball very well. He handles the ball very well. He moves off the ball. When I get the ball in the post, he's always going to be trying to get open to get the good shot. He is always helping our team win by taking the good clutch shots.
So Baylor, I personally think that he's one of the best sophomores in the state. He's one of the best scorers, one of the best players I've ever played with. Especially being a point guard, it's always nice to have somebody like Baylor on your team. He's always ready to score, and he's just a really nice guy to have around you.
It started a long time ago with him. For him to get to this point of being able to accomplish some of the things that he's wanting to accomplish for himself and for team. He can be a really special talent and one of the best that have ever played here. And I really believe that he can be.